Bird flu cases are increasing across the U.S., and it's being found in dairy cattle now.
The Tennessee Valley farmer sharing any concerns she has with her cows. Dallas Payton has this story.
Samantha Leslie, a local farmer in Catoosa County, says she's not necessarily concerned about the bird flu because she only manages a few dairy cattle. Leslie manages about 10 cattle and only 4 of them are dairy cattle. On top of being a small producer, she says all of her cattle are grass-based, and that's another reason of not being concerned.
Cattle that are raised solely on grass have healthier guts and healthier immune systems. I'm also not purchasing cattle from out of state or from stockyards and bringing them in weekly and then mixing them in with my regular herd. I think that's when you run into more trouble with any kind of disease, not even just avian flu, but any disease. When you do run an operation like that, you definitely have to be more cautious and quarantine animals.
The last dairy cattle she purchased was 2 years ago. All of her other cattle are born and raised right on her farm, and she prefers to keep them at a limit.
I've never had over like 27 head. I keep a very small herd. I've reduced it some this year because hay prices were so expensive last year, hoping those prices come down so I can keep more cattle.
As of now, there are no reported cases of bird flu in Georgia, but if cases were to arise, Leslie says what she does wouldn't hurt the community.
I'm not allowed to sell raw milk in Georgia. You can get a pet license and sell it as a pet food. Most of the milk that we produce here is for our own consumption and our own cheese making and homesteading purposes.
Although bird flu is typically found in domestic and wild birds, Leslie is not surprised that it's starting to pop up in dairy cattle.
I think any virus can mutate and take on a different form, and now that the avian, they say, is contracted from cattle even into some people, they've had a couple of cases. I think it's just a classic example of supporting a small farmer, a small producer, and knowing who you get your food from.
For Local 3 News, I'm Dallas Payton.